What happened to Fort Myers, Florida? When I moved to Fort Myers about 2 years ago, it was like a tropical paradise. We had car meets late at night that brought together the community. We were different ages, different races, even different types of cars, but it didn't last long.
My dad's been dead since 2016. You better keep it fucking walking,
Keep it pushing, bro. Keep it pushing. Be your best bet. Be your best bet, bro.
What happened to Fort Myers?
Oh, man.
Hurricane Ian was definitely the turning point. Today, it is not uncommon for shootouts to happen right in downtown.
Oh, man, I'll be starting with a head, too, though.
Despite being a heavily patrolled area, shootouts go down. Today, when we go to Fort Myers, we see police raids, people flipping over cars, people passed out and overdosing on the sidewalks and in front of businesses.
God damn. You made out of iron. Oh, snap. Just got assaulted by a homeless person out here, man.
But it wasn't just Hurricane Ian that transformed the city of Fort Myers. While it was definitely a highlight of all the things that are going wrong in Fort Myers.
You see that dude on the road over there?
Sorry?
There's like a person sleeping on the road.
Oh, jeez. All right, we'll go check.
He looks really bad, man. There's like several things unfolding here at once, guys. Baby Kensington going on right here.
There has to be something else in the environment. After all, we have been through many hurricanes, and none of those hurricanes led to an increase in violence like we're seeing in the city of Fort Myers. There has to be another element. Hurricanes don't directly lead to shootings, don't directly lead to people overdosing on sidewalks. Last time I checked, hurricanes didn't lead to violence. The hangout spots that we used to go to all the time and have fun in, this spot right here was a place you could go to at 2 in the morning, get tacos and food, and hang out at a car meet. Today, it's just a bunch of drug addicts and alcoholics. One of the biggest changes that have happened in the city of Fort Myers is the reduction of illegal immigrants. The communities that are left behind are filled in very quickly by criminals from other places.
But the thing is, we got a lot of crackheads, a lot of meth heads, a lot of no good people.
Meth heads, moonshine, well not moonshine, but meth heads and fentanyl people out there. Addicts and not illegal in this time whatsoever, never been.
Those criminals then go on to feud for the drug territories that are opening up. Perfect example was the Crime Manor neighborhood, aka Pine Manor, which has always had a reputation for crime. However, after Lee County Sheriff's Office did many raids in the community, what moved in was pure savagery. Immediately, these neighborhoods began to see murders and crime scenes on levels that had not been seen before. Having entire communities of illegal immigrants isn't exactly a good thing for the city of Fort Myers. However, at least these people were trying to work. As we all know, when communities are displaced, rivalries are created between neighborhoods and things get out of control. As the mostly hardworking Guatemalan community returned back to their country, the spaces that were left behind were quickly filled in by the poorest and most misfortunate people in society, and the communities went from being bad to being absolutely worst. But it's not just conflicts between neighborhoods that destroyed the city of Fort Myers. Hurricane Ian changed things forever. Just a week after Hurricane Ian, I told my wife we need to get out of here immediately. In the past, when we had hurricanes, everybody helped everybody recover, but this time something different happened. Looters came from all over the country to take advantage of the situation. Contractors from out of state left voluntarily because of how unthankful and stingy the people here were. A contractor from Louisiana who had worked in disasters in Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and South Carolina told me that these were the most unthankful and worthless people he's ever worked for, and he left. I also met other people who came to work as contractors, and the state of Florida refused to let them take part in the cleanup efforts, invalidating their out-of-state contracting licenses. But with Hurricane Ian, it was the rich people, the most prestigious properties along the Gulf, that suffered the greatest losses. People perishing into the hundreds because they refused to listen to the evacuation orders that the law put in place. Some people even live streaming their final moments to the internet. The people of Florida used to respect evacuation orders, used to not have to worry about people looting after a hurricane. Homeless people and scammers from all over the country showed up to pretend that they were hurricane victims. In the past, when we had gone through hurricanes, everybody helped everybody to recover. But this time, things were different. Not only were people not helping each other, they were almost savagely preying on each other. I even met people who came to volunteer to Southwest Florida who decided to leave because they said the people here were the most unthankful people they've ever seen anywhere in America. Imagine people who came here to volunteer and help us recover, having people yelling at them to move their cars out of the way. Both contractors and volunteers left very disappointed with the things they discovered about the people that are living in Southwest Florida. Greedy, selfish, and absolutely thankless. The Lee County Sheriff even went on to make a statement that after Hurricane Ian, road rage incidents increased dramatically. With the complications of cleanup efforts, traffic congestion became even worse than it was before, and the people were now angrier than ever. Fort Myers really became a disgusting place. And it wasn't the people that were here before, it was the new arrivals who didn't know how to cope with how extreme living in Florida could be. They were promised a dream, they were promised many things, none of which were true, many discovering that their contractors and insurance companies are all a bunch of criminals. Fort Myers was already one of the most economically oppressive cities in the United States, and Hurricane Ian aggravated things even more, as all the rich people along the coast bought up all the properties and rented out all the properties that were available so they could be near the construction sites of their homes that were destroyed. In some parts of Southwest Florida, rents doubled or even quadrupled on the few units that were left and were not damaged by Hurricane Ian, making an already unbearable situation when it comes to housing for the locals even worse, as the wealthy people who lost their homes would rent out any property available, even if the price was double, triple, and in some cases quadruple what they would normally go for. Those who were living paycheck to paycheck were left on the brink of homelessness. Nobody warned these people that moving to Southwest Florida, somebody did warn them. Yes, this little channel called Southern Life had been for years warning people who were of low income not to move to Florida because things here were very unstable. A lot of those people didn't listen to me, and they found out the hard way why living in Florida can be a tough decision. While all the other YouTubers were encouraging people to end up here and that they would have jobs, I was warning people that if you didn't have a crap load of money, you probably didn't want to end up in Southwest Florida. Hurricane Ian might have woken up a lot of people to the reality of what living in Florida can really be like. People around the whole entire world started to tune in to what was happening in the Fort Myers area. Many people took this opportunity to promote themselves and make long press conferences about what they were going to do for Fort Myers. And while the city centers where tourists normally go to today are back to normal, the normal people in the poor neighborhoods that are forgotten are actually living exactly like they were a few weeks after the hurricane. These are the living conditions of people here in North Fort Myers. So we're looking at an entire district of North Fort Myers
that actually looks worse to now a mattress in front of it where homeless people are sleeping is pretty much a homeless camp practically. And it's interesting that just a large part of promoting what was going on with the hurricane was establishing how Southwest Florida strong, we're going to recover. And some of these parts of North Fort Myers really have not recovered very well from the hurricane. They still got their hurricane shutters up. While most of the affluent communities in Southwest Florida have returned to normal, places like Suncoast Estates, Pomona Park, and inner city neighborhoods in Fort Myers look as if the hurricane was yesterday. And in fact, we can say that some parts of Southwest Florida in Fort Myers are something like the Mississippi Gulf Coast, a sort of Lake Charles, Louisiana, a place that was never really able to recover from natural disasters. But the real disaster in Fort Myers wasn't a natural disaster. It was a humanitarian disaster. It was an economical disaster that the wealthy are able to recover and the poor every day find life more challenging and more difficult. Big time YouTubers like me just moved up down the coast to a town that wasn't destroyed, but those who didn't have a YouTube channel were stuck trying to bring their lives back together in a place that would never be the same. I've been through many hurricanes, and it seems like every hurricane that passes, the people become more unthankful, more greedy, and it gives you less desire to help those that are most unfortunate. It's not so much that the hurricane destroyed the place as it really destroyed the moral of the people. A lot of people made some big mistakes and were not able to recover. Their valuable things weren't their health, wasn't their happiness. It was the material things that they owned that defined who they were. When they found themselves without their material possessions, they realized how pitiable and miserable of a human being they were deep inside. Their self-esteem defined by the things they own and not by the person they were. When the things they owned were destroyed, they literally became nothing. But hurricanes can also be big windfalls for a lot of people. Landscaping companies, builders, roofing companies, and YouTubers can make quite a lot of money by events like this. News outlets from around the world sent their reporters to the city of Fort Myers, showing a downtown inundated and the destruction that was present in the city core. I encouraged them to go into the real neighborhoods and see what the real people were dealing with. They all refused my offers. The whole world saw a Fort Myers destroyed and a Fort Myers rebuilt, but what they never saw were the places that were never able to rebuild, and to this day stand exactly like they were right after the hurricane. In the state of Florida, mobile homes cannot be insured, and the people that own these types of properties are left trying to fix these homes themselves, many times resulting in injuries that really lead to an even worse economical outcome. We are able to rebuild homes, and we can always go and buy a new car if yours gets flooded, but what Southwest Florida failed to fix, and what was never repaired, was the attachment that people had to the material things that were lost, and the inability, lack of willpower that many people had to start their lives again, and they literally just quit on life. Some people did illegal dumping, throwing away construction materials, but some people threw away their desire to keep going. Their anger only grew after finding out that I used the money that I made while doing hurricane coverage to take an amazing road trip to California. We saw the Pacific Ocean, seals, we saw humpback whales breaching the ocean. Oh, it was incredible. I tell you, I've done a lot of road trips across America, but this trip to California was absolutely the most ballin' crap I have ever done my entire life. Get away from all these angry people in Southwest Florida and just be on the California coast with elephant seals and sea lions and sea otters and sea kelp. Oh, the smell of the Pacific Ocean. This bird right here was like the coolest animal. I mean, I saw like all these seal otters and humpback whales, but that bird right there, just like the confident, look at how it walks. You see that right there? And Fort Myers also got hit by like 4 tornadoes. Now, the tornado videos didn't make me that much money. It wasn't like the hurricane money, but it was pretty good. I'm not going to complain. What do you think destroyed Fort Myers? Do you think it was Hurricane Ian, or was it them watching me having a freaking great time at their expense? Let me see in the comments what you guys think made Fort Myers go to crap. Do you really think that hurricanes are the real reason that Fort Myers went to crap? Me, I don't think it made me a worse person. Crap. I mean, if it wasn't for Hurricane Ian, I would have never been able to see California. I didn't stick around and try to fix the mess that Hurricane Ian created. I just moved to a place that was better, that was already fine. You know what I mean? When I moved to Fort Myers, I only had like $130,000. I am so glad that I ended up not buying a house, and I chose not to buy in Fort Myers. I just rented when I lived there. Pretty sure if I had bought a house in Fort Myers, it would like literally be destroyed right now, and I probably wouldn't have had enough money to fix it since I had used all my money to buy the house. Luckily, I was in California looking at elephant seals fighting over females, not people fighting over water, jugs, or gasoline. Aren't these just the cutest things you've ever seen?